everything that we do has some sort of educational component. So it's not just about formal education of girls and boys in school, it's also about women's education and men's education in all the projects that we might undertake with our African partners. So just to provide one example, we do a lot of work around women's rights, particularly in Ghana, where women don't actually know what their rights are, and the men might not even know what women's rights are under the law of Ghana. So, for example, the Ghanaian constitution, men and women have equal rights under the law, but certainly that isn't the case in practice. So what our partners do, they are basically awareness raising and educating whole communities in what the rights of women's are. So that might include women's inheritance rights, women's property rights, particularly in relation to women's land ownership and ownership of livestock. So in Ghana, women are denied access to land, they're denied access to livestock, they're denied access to banking facilities, all sorts of no rights for women. And our partner the Community Self-Reliance Centre, they work very much at the community level. They first of all train community volunteers, just members of the community, very ordinary people, men and women, and then those people go out with key messages into the community by holding, different community meetings or even just door-to-door and discussions, with their mates, whatever it might be, passing on those key messages so everyone has the same understanding of what those rights might be. We believe that education is at the absolute centre of development, and girls' education is there, right in there, because we believe that if a girl, the more years of education that a girl has, we know that in later life infant mortality decreases, we know that maternal mortality decreases, we know that there's better nutrition in the home, and so children are more healthy as they're growing up. Women tend to know about the health facilities and take their children at appropriate times to health centres. And the list goes on.
Yeah.
There's some really important ones. But my favourite out of all the benefits, obviously, for girls, is that an educated girl is more likely to educate her own girls. And so all those benefits basically go on and they're intergenerational. So once you start with girls, then the whole thing mushrooms out and spreads out. It's the ripple effect, basically, and more girls are educated, so more and more people have the same benefits.
Wonderful.
So we're hoping to have universal primary education, that's one of the Millennium Development Goals, but there's also secondary education to think about, and particularly the 4 years when on completing primary school to completing your what are equivalent of GCSEs. And many more children don't get the chance to go to secondary school because there are costs associated with secondary school. And again, if poverty is keeping children out of primary education, certainly poverty will be a much greater factor in secondary education as well. And there are also cultural reasons, particularly why girls don't go to school. There's still a preference for educating boy children over and above girls, and there are other factors such as early and forced marriage that keep girls out of school as well, particularly in the areas where we're working in Tanzania. Education is an investment in time and also in money. There's obviously an opportunity cost of if a girl is going to school, then she's not working at home, she's not undertaking household chores, and she's not looking after the livestock or whatever the chores might be. And particularly in pastoralist communities, they tend to think that when a girl is married, and she can be married as early as 12, it's usually between the ages of 12 and 15, if she's married that early, she then leaves the household and she goes and moves in with her husband's family, and therefore her economic worth is basically lost to the family. So to many communities there's no point in educating girls because she's not actually going to help out her own family in the future. So our aim is it's a holistic approach and trying just to move girls, more and more girls up through the whole process so that they finish their secondary school. And at the end of that, obviously, we're looking for girls to go on to take their A-levels. We want more girls to go into tertiary education, university education, because then what we try and do, or what our partners try and do, they want those girls that have graduated to then come back and work in their communities and be mentors for girls in those districts, so girls can actually see that education is achievable. The best type of mentor is someone who is not so way above you, for example, a pop star or someone famous. Those are hopeless mentors because it's just so much out of your reach. The best mentors are people who have achieved certainly more than you, but something that you yourself might be able to achieve one day as well, with encouragement and support.